Okay. So
Billi,
here we
hello.
are. Hi. Here we are on our inaugural episode, right? Episode
Yes,
0.
0. Yes, we're doing it. Everyone was like, "When are you recording?" And I was like, "Soon." We're
Soon,
doing it.
very soon. We're doing it now. So, okay. So we were gonna get started, right, with like introducing the show and like introducing each other and kind of getting a feel for what we're wanting to do here and what we're wanting to talk about, moving forward. So we're doing kind of like an episode 0, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, to kind of kick it off, like, why are we here? What's our purpose?
So I guess we should start by introducing ourselves.
Let's
KP, you
do
want
it.
to go first?
Sure. I'm Ceit Ryder. I have been costuming, I mean, really, like, since I was a teenager off and on, and now I found myself in this little corner of the Star Wars universe with a bunch of friends that want to do the same thing I want to do, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I'm Billy Maddox. Same. I've been costuming for a little bit now, and I think with regards to the show, I think doing the everyday sort of Star Wars thing and kind of completely redoing my full wardrobe into something that kind of fits in universe is kind of what I'm starting to be known for. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and that's how I found you, right? Like we both were getting into that. Well, what if I do this all the time?
I know, right? Like, I kind of want to live in this universe. Why don't I do this every day?
Yeah, yeah. Was there like a specific catalyst? Because I know there's a specific catalyst for me. Like what really was that path like for you to suddenly be like, actually, you know what? I could do this.
I've told the story a couple of times in a couple different places, but I think it was the lockdowns. Well, actually coming out of the
Mhm.
lockdowns where I was like, our whole world can change in a blink of an eye. So why not do what you want to do like now? You
Mhm.
know? Like why am I waiting like for I don't know, for what, right? So I think that was it. And sort of jumping into this like, I don't know, costuming world and wanting to, I don't know, feel like I was in that universe more and more every day, even subtly, And
Mhm.
then I started going to work once we were called back into the office, getting more and more in a few more belts every day. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So we got a few show notes here, and I've got them pulled up, and I was
Okay, great.
just looking at them here, and I think it's really odd to me how this community has found each other, and I think it's obviously like a lot of the cosplay people like knew each other. They know each other from cons, they know each other from tutorials and builds, and but it seemed like there was a moment where our kind of people were finding each other, like,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Can you sort of say something about how you were finding other people and like what exactly you were seeing in their Instagrams and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. Well, and similar to you where it definitely spun out of life during lockdown, right? And it was like I got really into Disney bounding because it was a chance to do something but do it at home, even just for myself, right? Um and then we were going so lockdown was over, right? And we said, "Hey, before we go," because my husband and I are both from the other side of the country, and we were like, "Before we fly all the way across the country with our kids again, let's do a small trip and like work our way into it." I was like, "Let's go down because we're in the Pacific Northwest." I was like, "Let's fly down to Disneyland. Like, let's have our first trip be fun, not for sorry, mom and parents, but it's more fun to go to Disneyland." So we did that, and I was like researching like Disney bounding, and it was going to be my second time at Galaxy's Edge, but I had just popped in just when our little guy was really little. So it was like, okay, let's go. And I was like it'd be fun. I saw that more people were doing this Batu bounding, right? This like Disney bounding for Star Wars, and so I was like, I'm gonna research this. I wanna go deeper into that look for part of our trip. And I know that has to be when I found you. That has to be when I was like, "Oh, wait, somebody actually is using this hashtag, Batu bounding or whatever." It had to have
Right.
been that, because I keep being like,
Had to
"Oh,
have been
that's
the
so cool."
hashtags. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's
Oh,
how it
now I'm
was.
getting it.
Yeah, right? And I mean, like, I think back when Instagram's hashtags were working a little better,
When you
a
can,
little
yeah, when you can
right, when
find
you
people
can
that are
actually
posting
search.
that
I
day.
know, exactly. Oh my god, I miss those days. But I think that's what it was. I think that was what I was looking for was like, okay, who has this Star Wars look? And I was still looking for a character. Like I still put together a look that was like, very inspired by Rey, but it was different enough to be like, okay, this is an outfit inspired by her, not the actual
Yeah.
cosplay, right? Yeah, so I think that has to be how it happened, and I think that's where I started finding, right, like we found Noisy Morning, Creos to Go, right, and the three of us like knew each other early on, and that's what I started looking for. So
For the others.
yeah, for the others to find our people.
And it's really fun how like seeing people that we've met, like like Midrim Rebel, who
Hmm.
I think was messaging the both of us, like, "Hey, I really
Hmm.
want to do this.
I think so. Yeah.
What do you think of these pants? Like, what do you think of this vest?" And
Yes.
um, I don't know. From my standpoint, I was like, like, do it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much fun. Like jump on in.
Totally. The same thing
And
with D with Doug from Holoscan Database. Like that's how
yes,
I met. And actually, you and I were fast forwarding a little bit, but we were on
yeah,
Bet2 together, and
yeah,
Doug was there, and like we like I said hi to him and his family, and then was like, "I'll catch you later," and we never did because it was so crazy that day.
wow, that would have been
But that was
great.
how I started talking to him too. It was like, "Oh, I'm looking for a look," and I was like, "Great, tell me more." Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to talk about this in a later episode. It's actually the next episode, but
Hmm.
the influence of Batu and in turn the Star Cruiser and like building this community. But before we get into that, I did want to ask you one question, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, this is just in the notes, and I think we should just say each of our thing. But
Yeah.
what is your favorite piece that you've adapted? Something that you've found or thrifted or bought that you're like, I can't believe I found this, and this works for so many things. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, man, and one thing. Ooh, and that's so hard. Um, and I was thinking about this. I think in general, if we're going for more a general, like, what I go back to again and again is the jumpsuits. Like and it goes back to the pandemic. So during, like, the lockdown phase, my youngest was a little preschooler, and he and I were outside every day in whatever weather, and I was just, like, tired of, like, kinda ruining my clothes also by crawling around on the ground in the house or outside of them, and I was like, "I'm just gonna wear coveralls. I'm
Yeah,
just I'm just doing it, and if they get beat up, that's okay because they're
better.
coveralls." That's what they're exactly. They're weathered, that's what they're made for, and I got really comfortable in that baggy, a nice cotton kinda canvas, like, the thicker the better, honestly, which is hard to find for women, women. Um, yeah, and, like, I just got really into my coverall phase, and I think that flight suit look, like, we see it with, like, Rose Tico has it, and, like, we see it with the X-Wing pilots, right? Like, I just love that flight suit look, absolutely, and so I
I
don't
mean,
have
everyone,
one, I
yeah.
have a collection, but that's
A
okay. I have
very
so
good
many.
collection.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very good collection.
Yeah.
You have some colors that I'm like, why can I only find black, gray, and blue?
Right, I know, and it's so, like, the fashion industry just needs to branch out for, like, the men's fashions, right? Come on,
Yeah.
more colors, so, yeah. I had a question for you as well, but do you wanna answer your own question as well? Because I
Yes.
love that question.
I
Yeah,
think I think the one thing that we find stuff all the time, which I think is
yeah,
like really fun and really great. And I think it's really fun to find something uh, off the rack
yep,
that can then be incorporated into cosplay, even if it's just like a casual or closet cosplay or a bound or something. But then, at least for me, they eventually get worked on more and more and more, and eventually make it to like full on, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that's usually when I'll decide to like dirty something up and like never touch it again, like
Yeah. Yeah.
for my everyday,
Yeah.
unless I'm just taking a picture here or something. But I think the one thing that I love and that I'm hoping one day becomes somehow canon, just because I've seen a lot of people use it since I started using it, but like it's um that recoil pad that I use. I was wearing it on
Yeah.
Batu, and it's
Yes.
it's it's like a hunting thing, and I came across it. One of those like uh, I don't know, spending too much time on the internet
Yes.
and looking at like quilted things
Hmm.
and different types of vests and typing in the word utility too many times into my search engine. And then eventually that popped up, and I was like, wait a minute.
Hmm.
And it had the circle and everything. And I just put a patch right
Yep.
over it. And now I've seen a bunch of people do so many different things with it. I saw somebody do like a medic with it, and they're using all different colors. Um, a friend of ours from Instagram, Blaster Maker, who's amazing, the organizer of Space Dive.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, one of the folks who puts it on. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's using like two of them, like like crossed
Hmm.
for his OC, or at least the iteration he's got now. And I think that's my favorite because I'm
That is.
because I kind of used it, and then I saw it just go out into the universe. I saw
Hmm.
it spread out into the world, and I was like, yes.
Right. Well, and it's such a unique piece too, because it's something that like not everyone's wearing at the grocery store or something like that. But yet it's an article of, it's a tool. It's an article of clothing that's
Yeah.
utilized as a tool, but it's real, right? And so it's like, but you could just wear it. Like, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Also, like, all of everything, even from the beginning, like with the costuming in Star Wars. I mean, it's all from here. It's all from
Yeah.
Earth.
Right. Okay. So that was
So
going to be
its
my
roots.
question to you
Yeah.
was there, you know, an early costume that stood out to you, like, I don't know, wherever you started your Star Wars journey, like as a kid or a teen or wherever, like, was there one that like originally grabbed you? One costume?
I think when I was really, really little, probably like 5 or so, you can still find them online now, but they used to make these little die-cast metal figurines of like Darth
Yeah.
Vader and Luke and all the OT
Yeah.
characters. Um, but even early on, I really gravitated to that black suit Luke.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, yeah, I don't know. That's why I wear a lot of black in
Right?
like my bounds and cosplays. I like
Okay.
it for a good guy. I think it's it's covert. It's
Yes.
um it's so I think that one. I think that's it's also a pared down look. It doesn't have like so much, like it doesn't have a jacket or anything. It's just kind of like a really simple silhouette. I don't know, something about it. Really
Yeah.
like it, kind of like a jumpsuit,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Because
those
it's
two
the
pieces, but
same top and bottom. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you and I do talk about like all black. Does that make you a bad guy, or can you still be a good guy if you're wearing all black?
Yeah,
Right?
I think you can be.
I think it can be. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's just covert. It's just, you're in the
Yep.
shadows,
Yep,
sneak
yep.
around.
Yeah, exactly, you're trying to blend in. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, and I liked the symbolism of that costume in Return of the Jedi, right, where it is black, you're not sure which way he's gonna go. Is he gonna stay with the light
Mhm.
side, or is he gonna go to the dark side? Will be seduced? And, like, and then that little flap that opens up to show, like, that lighter fabric later on
Right.
in the movie, and it's like, "Oh, there's this glimmer of white." I liked the symbolism of that a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, nice.
Yeah, and even when he showed up in Mandalorian, he was kind of, black
Mm.
cloak, black,
Mhm.
setup, and then in
Yeah.
the, training sequences of Grogu, he's still in that sort of black suit. I don't know. I think it
Yeah.
works. I think it works
Yeah.
for a good guy.
Nice, nice. I love that that was an early one that, like, caught your eye and
Yeah.
stayed with you, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Nice. Cool.
Okay. So I had a question for you. Is there anything that you don't like? Is there something that you're like, oh, well, that's not really like my thing, as far as like maybe, we've had a discussion about cargo pants and stuff, and I love some of them, but I don't love all of them.
Right, right.
Um,
I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm like, "Oh, no, that's not my luck." Because I feel like I really like being diverse in my fashion,
yeah,
even, like, in, Disney bounding, Batu bounding, or whatever aside, I dated somebody years ago that literally honestly told me, "I don't know what box to put you in because you wear so many different things. I don't know how to peg you. Like, who are
yeah,
you? What label do I put on you?" And I was like totally taken aback by that, but it stuck with
yeah,
me all these years. And I was like, I really do like to be kind of a chameleon, which is why like my OC uh, evolved into this like this spy that is put into any situation, right, and can adapt. So I'm trying to think about, is there anything that's really not my style? Um, there's one thing that I don't do, but I kinda wish I did more, but it's like and you do this, and a lot of people do this so well, is adding in one little piece of armor. Like, I haven't done that yet,
okay,
and it's not that I don't like it, I do, I just
right,
haven't gotten to that phase yet, I feel like, right?
yeah,
Of, like, I'm making this, but I think that that really takes it kinda, like, to another level where it's walking, and we'll talk about this later in another episode, right, of, like,
yeah.
what is that
What's
line
the
between
line?
bounding and cosplay, right? And I
Right.
feel like because I literally wear these things as I'm going about, like, I I showed up I, uh I did that, Anakin Skywalker look a few like last week or the week before. I think it was last week, it was for, like, the beginning of May for, like, my little bounding challenge that I did.
Yeah.
So it was like the Anakin
Great.
Skywalker, like, in his like thank you. I love that outfit, as he's, like, going to the dark side, right? And I realized that it was Monday, and I had to go pick my kid up to get an appointment, like, from school. I was like, "I can't walk into a kindergarten classroom looking like Anakin Skywalker, can
I
I?"
mean,
Like,
with his history, I don't think he should be walking in
that's why
anywhere
I was
with
like,
the
"I
kids.
don't think I
Yeah.
should be going to the school dressed like this." But so
You
I
just walk
literally
in,
wear these
ignite
things.
saber,
I
like,
know, that's why I'm like, "Will
yeah,
anyone look at me, like, weird?" And my husband's like, "I don't think they're gonna notice, honey." Like, "Okay."
that's
But I wear these things, like, in my daily life, so I think that's why I
yeah,
haven't added, like, a piece of armor, right? And I
yeah,
would like to.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I think too that's a good point, because like I think lately I've been doing a little more.
mhm.
I've kind of been home a lot, you know.
Yep, 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 you and me both.
So when I do take a picture, I'll kind of do a little bit more, like something that I might not walk out from.
Okay.
But what I have been doing, and I think I should somehow post more of this, but I've been taking a picture of like the base of like what I would walk out the door with, and then all of the rest of the gear over top, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So a lot of times it'll just be different. Oh, I just did, well, I haven't posted the pictures yet, but I just did my V2 of my Imperial Hunter. But that base, like I took off my helmet, I took off like a couple of pieces, and I walked out the door. Like
Yes,
I was like
okay.
ready to go.
Mhm, mhm.
And I
Nice.
think that was always my goal, is to be just a couple steps away from a costume, you know? And
Yes.
that's kind of how I was trying to build my wardrobe, where it's like, "Oh, this looks normal. This looks
Mhm,
totally normal.
mhm.
But if I add maybe one of these and one of these and an extra belt,
It
we're somewhere
crosses the
else."
line.
You know
How
what I
many
mean?
belts are you wearing, Billy? I've got 2 on right now.
Right now,
Belt check.
I am embarrassed to say I am not wearing a belt,
Oh
but I
my
am wearing
gosh.
I am wearing my jacket, and
Oh, okay, I know, you are.
I do have some, what's the name of that brand? The 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 I do have my G stars on, but it's
Oh,
only
that's
because
sweet.
I went to I went to my storage unit today, and I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
maybe I get a little bit dirty. These aren't like every days. I'm trying to
Mhm.
like, push them further into like beat up and dirty. So I was like, well, I'm gonna be moving around some boxes and stuff. So I was like, let me wear these. So anyway,
Nice. Nice. No, that's how to weather it, right? Like when you
yeah,
met my brother, you're like, "How do you weather your clothes?" And he's like, "I work on my truck or my motorcycle."
under a Jeep. Yeah, I was under
Right,
a
under the
Jeep last
Jeep.
weekend. Yeah,
Oh my god, I love it. And that is one thing that I also a lot of my looks, because they're my everyday clothes, they aren't super weathered, and I think that is one of those
yeah.
things that we talked about literally just yesterday in our Burgundy Squadron group
Oh
about,
yeah,
like, everyone was being like, "I weathered this, but you can't tell on the camera."
yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's
It's really
another
hard. Even my I just posted a Mando photo today, and like my flak vest is like really dirty, and like this
Yes.
little sort of mid torso like sash thing that I wear is also like really like there's so many colors on it, but once you take a picture of it, all you see is the really dark. So in person it looks great, but on pictures
Mhm.
it's always different.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
it's I've heard people talk about like taking something to a camera level, and when you see something that's like for movies or like you've seen like costumes on display and stuff like that
Yes.
as well,
Yeah.
they look really rough,
Mhm.
and it's because the camera won't pick it up unless
Yeah.
it's like really heavy handed. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, lighting and everything, it changes it so much, so
yeah.
yeah, which is fascinating
I'm
stuff.
having a hard time
Weathering
getting.
that,
I
right?
know.
Yes.
I'm not ready yet, but I'm
Yes.
going to.
Well,
But I'm
that's
not
what
ready yet.
I have that vest from Red Cup Apparel that I don't even wear very much because 'cause I'm so worried about ruining it, and I have to
Yeah,
get past that. Like, I have
yeah.
to be like, "This is a work of art, but I gotta get over it." I know how you feel for sure.
I'm
Yes.
just not ready. I'm gonna do it, but
Yeah.
I'm not like
Yeah.
ready yet.
Yeah,
There's a
'cause it's
few
so
things
you're
that
like, "Oh, it's
I
so
feel like I need to weather.
beautiful."
No, I know. There's a few things that I need to weather up, and I always do this, and I've talked to a couple of people about this, but like I always take on a project of what I call a low stakes project
Okay.
before I work on something that's like really important to me. That way I can sort of loosen my hands and like, gain a little bit of like confidence and a little bit of courage, especially since I haven't really like been able to paint in a while
Yeah.
because of the weather.
Yes, yes.
Um, so I have to like get back into there. But once I get going, then I start to like explode and start to do like a bunch of stuff. So I know I'll eventually get to
Yeah.
this, but
You
like
just paint everything. You're like
I'm just not ready yet.
yes. Oh, no, it makes sense for sure.
But
It is
I
yeah.
will. I'm gonna start with these things.
Oh, good.
That'll
Okay.
that'll
Yeah, start small.
yeah, I'm gonna start with like the white little bits, and that
Right.
way, like I'll be like, okay, and just take
Yep.
little bites.
Yep.
But anyway,
Oh,
yeah, I was gonna add to that. Sorry,
yeah. Yeah.
um,
No, go ahead.
that most of my stuff is also not weathered. I have a few pieces that I've pushed into, like I was saying earlier, that I've pushed further into like cosplay that have started as
Mhm.
like something that I wear every day, and now I wear less and less because I've beaten it up more and more,
Yes.
and it
Yeah.
just doesn't,
Yeah.
can't go out to
Right.
lunch, can't go out to dinner wearing
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yep.
Um, but I also, which I'm wondering if you've ever gotten the question, but I've had people ask me, especially about like something like this, but they're like, "Oh, you need to like, really weather up your look."
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, "No, you're right," especially when, we're talking about like my imp hunter or Amanda or something like that.
Mhm.
But also, I think of people like Kira, I think of people like
Mhm.
Lando, and there's other,
Yeah.
characters that aren't, you
Yeah.
know, they've got changes of clothes. They keep their stuff
Yes.
real
They're
nice,
not getting their hands dirty to the same level too,
not
right?
to the same
Yep.
level. Exactly. I always
Mhm.
tell people that I'm a spy. I'm not a soldier. So there's
Yes.
a difference. Like,
That's a good one. Yeah, I
yeah,
like that a lot. Yeah. Yeah, you're not quite on the battlefield.
yeah.
Like, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, I guess like, do you want to tell the people like what we have in store for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've brainstormed. We realized that in a conversation we just kept going, "Oh, that's an episode. Oh, that's an
Yeah.
episode. Make that an episode," right? So our idea here is to kind of break down this casual cosplay or this Batu bounding or this, everyday Star Wars looks and where we're pulling from, in the Star Wars universe, what's inspiring us, kind of anything that's dealing with the fashion of Star Wars and how it's relating to us every day.
Right.
Because we talk about this a lot, right? Like,
Sort of what we do.
and we
Yeah.
were like, and people kind of come to us, which is lovely. I mean, like, absolutely amazing. I'm sure you've gotten it too, but I've gotten a
I love
lot of
that so
folks who
much.
come to me and say, "I'm doing this, and like, I'm just wondering what you think." And I'm like, "Yes, tell me more,"
Yeah.
right? Like, I
Especially with
love it.
Burgundy Squadron, like I have people in my DMs just like giving me like progress updates on
Yeah,
their
I
like
love that.
costumes and looks, and I'm like, it's great. It's great. Just
I
keep
love
going.
that, right? I know, it makes me so happy for sure,
Yeah.
yeah, um, and that's what we were like, "Why don't we talk more about this," right? And we're bringing a podcast to you for
And
to
then the
discuss it.
amazing folks over at the Dad Batch
Mhm,
sent us a message, tapped us on the shoulder, and said, "We're
mhm.
thinking of you too." And we're like, "We've been thinking about that too." So
Yes. Have you ever considered a podcast? Well, yes, we have.
yes, we
Yeah,
have.
and they
We had no
adopted
idea how to do it.
us and brought us into the family, so thank you guys. That was
Thank
lovely,
you
just
very
like a
much.
total surprise, right?
Absolutely, out of the blue.
Yes, absolutely. So, that was lovely. So, we're gonna get more into, like, focused content, different themes in
Yeah, we'll
the
take a
following
look at certain
episodes.
shows. We'll take a
Yeah.
look at like specific pieces. We did like a half hour on footwear the other day,
We
so
did,
I'm
and we
sure
should have
we'll.
been recording.
I know,
It was
I know.
it was so good.
So we'll do that. We'll try to replicate that,
Yeah,
recreate
and
that
and
somehow.
if folks I would love it because we do have our Instagram account now for this show,
Yeah,
and if folks are like, "Oh, wow, here's something I've always wondered about," or "Here's a vibe I'm trying to pull together, I'm not really sure about," or whatever, like, shoot us a message, right? And, like, it could be something that we
absolutely.
talk about here for sure, so that'd be super fun. We're
Yeah,
also gonna share resources, like, at various points in time, folks who inspire us and things like that, so,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
in and out of the Star Wars
Yes.
world, I think, because
Yeah.
we were talking about that as well, that there's some amazing people doing really creative things that aren't
Yeah.
exactly in the Star Wars universe, but
Mhm.
are very inspiring to like
Yeah.
build
Yes.
certain looks and whatnot. Yes, so if you have anything out there, listener, if anyone's listening, oh please, um,
Burgundy Squadron, we're
um,
looking at you.
please, yeah, please let us know what you might want to cover. We might have it on our list. We've got a
Mhm.
long list of things that we wanna hit
Yeah.
up. We're gonna be looking at the shows, the acolytes
Mhm.
coming up. Andor
Yes.
season 2 will be coming up. We'll take a look
Yes.
back at some of stuff that's already come out. Rogue One, OT, everything.
Mhm.
I was even thinking it would be kind of cool to do uh, a animated versus live action
Yeah.
characters and how their looks have changed or stayed
Yes.
the same or and very
Writing
similar.
that down.
Write it down. Yeah, I thought about
Yeah.
that yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, that would be a
Yes, I
cool
love
idea."
it.
Especially Hera, which I think is like pretty great once
Got
again.
it.
But
Oh, yes.
but yeah, so that's what we'll do
Mm.
here.
Mhm.
I think we've got the nerves shaken out now.
Mhm. Mm. Yep.
We've got one under our belt. So why don't you just tell people where they can find you, and then we'll tell them where they can find the show, Instagram,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah, so if you'd like to find me, I am at one scavenger's wardrobe underscore in between all those words. And Billy, you are at
I'm at Billy Maddox at
Mhm.
Instagram. Be
Yeah.
sure to send us a message with anything you might want to hear, or the Off the Rack Rebellion Instagram, which is Off the Rack Rebellion with periods in between all of
Yes.
those words. Off period, the period, rack period, rebellion. I kind of like that. Like,
Staccato.
yeah, exactly. Um, And much thank you to the
Yes,
Dad Batch for inviting us on, and we hope to make
absolutely.
all of you proud. Yeah,
Absolutely, and Raimi, our producer, thank you.
thank you very much.
So, yeah, absolutely. So we'll see you in the next episode.